Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. I am your host, Justin Dixon, and today we've got Gupta on the pod. He is the founder and CEO of Squanto, which is a gig app for live entertainment, connecting event managers with live performers. It's a pretty cool episode. We talk a lot about how he came up with this idea during a trip to Boulder, Colorado in 2019, and how he's essentially had to pivot his app based on feedback from what he thought was his ideal customer persona. And he's had to pivot it a few different times. So we talk a lot about his journey going from what he thought was the right application, the right target audience, and how he's kind of had to shift focus over the last year since he started. So really cool episode, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. So let's get G on the pod. Interested in hearing conversations with private equity leaders, CEOs of private equity-backed companies, and startup entrepreneurs where they share their stories about their career journeys, starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, and the important role that having the right talent plays in building a successful business, then you are in the right place. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. Here's your host, Justin Dixon. All right, G, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being on.
Thank you so much, Justin.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right in. Maybe give everybody that's listening and watching a little bit of an overview of who you are, where you are, and what you're up to right now.
All right. So, folks, I'm CEO of Squanto. It is a gig app for live entertainment. And over here, we help event managers and customers find and select performers using AI-powered performer scoring. What can be measured is what can be managed properly. And that's what we have taken a little ahead.
Got it. Well, I guess where are you in the life cycle of the company? Is it like a web app? Is it just a native Android or iPhone app, or what's the story on that?
We are starting off with a web app, going to perfect it, take it to kind of product market fit level near about there, and then we will convert it into a mobile app.
Got it.
Honing down on the functionalities, what really works, what clicks. It's better to start with a website then take an extract out of it and then make a mobile app out of it. Makes more sense. And we are in early stage, as you know.
Got it. How long have you been creating the app, and then what spawned the idea?
Oh wow! So we have been working on this for about a year now.
Okay.
Honestly speaking, creating any app takes like 3 months now. But if you have some idea, you don't need a lot of validation. You don't need to do any pivots. Start to finish, 3 months done. But we have repeated this 3 months like 3-4 times now. Yeah. So started off last year in August, September timeframe. And we reached one point, we understood what's needed next, and then we pivoted. So instead of going through cycles of failures of different types of startups, what other founders, unfortunately, have to go through before they become successful, we're like, all right, we love the space, we love the idea, we want to do something for the performers. They are an integral part of way of our life. Music is part of way of our life, and way of life is freedom. People die for it. So instead of just dropping the ball, we are like, all right, we need to pivot and do this also, or do this instead. And what spawned the idea? A couple of girls. In 2019, I was in Boulder, Colorado. It was an open street mall, Pearl Street, I think that was the name. Backdrop of mountains, beautiful weather, sunny, but little chilly. And a couple of girls in orchestra dress, they were playing violin. And it was just serene, amazing, magical. And there was a case open in front of them for cash tips. Now, and there was no app on which you could just go and see where the performers are playing. Or they're busy right now. If you want to hire them so that they would come and play at your place or in your party, it's not really feasible, right? So that's what spawned the idea, the initial idea on which we started working. At that time, I felt these are the type of people I want to work for. This is the type of people I want to build something for. That's what got me started.
Got it. So, so your idea kind of spawned from these women playing the violin, and like a lot of street performers, they have their guitar case or violin case in that situation kind of open for people to drop coins and money in,
Yeah.
and all that. And so I'm assuming that your application goes farther beyond just almost like a Venmo, right? Because a lot of people, I've seen some Venmos, like barcode or QR codes, so people can
To
just kind
give
of
them
sign in
tips.
and pay
Yeah.
them, or give them a tip or whatever. Because I don't carry cash, very, very, very rarely carry cash. Um, but I guess so you go a little bit farther because you don't just say, okay, you can, pull up your app, it identifies where you are. Oh, there's the violin players. You can tip them, but then you can go a step further and actually like book them or try to find other street performers. Maybe talk more about the app and some of the functionality. So I don't assume I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, but you're on the right track. You're on perfectly right track, because what I told you, you picked up what these guys must have started building. And that's exactly what we started building. We built out a map on which you could see all these street performers. You could go over there. Uh, you could see where they are playing. You can go there at that date and time at that location and give them tips. That's what we started building. That was the first 3 months. With this idea, we started interviewing other performers. We started asking them that this is what we are building. What do you think of it? And we'll be building way more features, X, Y, and Z. And they listened to me. Quite a few of them listened to me. They're like, "Hey, G, by the way, this is my number 2 problem and number 3 problem. You know what my number 1 problem is?" I was like, "What?" It's like finding gigs, bro.
Mm,
I can go out on the street and start playing now. Finding this gig is not my biggest problem, but I want to get hired for my skill. And I want to make like $300 at playing at a party in a bar, restaurant somewhere, right? That's what excites me, because I can take my buddies with me. I have a band, and
yeah.
in the busking situation, it's just me. I was like, oh. So, and a lot of these people told me that this is my number 1 problem. And I talked to investors also, and I told them I'm building all these things. They're like, "Gee, you're one guy. You're not an enterprise. What are you building all these things for? Act like like a startup, like a humble startup. Build one thing, which is the most viral, most valuable." I was like, all right. So I started building an app in which you can post your gig. A customer would post the performer requirement, gig requirement. It would be
Mm,
visible on a map. And performers, if they like the terms, they can come in and click apply. They would already created their profile and everything. They click apply, and the customer would get all the applicants, and they can choose. That was a viral idea, or most valuable idea I had, and I started building that. That was the next 3 months. Then during that time, I started visiting bars, clubs, and restaurants, making cold calls. Like, many of them were like, "Hey, tech support, get a click."
yeah.
They wouldn't talk to me, but some of them were very nice. They're like, "Yeah, yeah, sure, come over, let's talk." Yeah. And I went to them, and they listened to me, and they're like, "Hey, G, by the way, we get a lot of these people. Which one is the best fit for our venue? How do we know? And suppose we put a gig like this on your map, on your app, which shows on a map, not 25, 50, 75, 100 will apply. Do you know that? How do we choose the best one
Mm,
out of 100? Then I came back to my team. I'm like, "Guys, we are all techies, we are all engineers." And I was like, "We need to build an AI engine which does scoring." And that took some time. Like, we talked to performers, we came up with a very good algorithm how to score a performer effectively, the most just format. So, and what all things do we have to see? We need to check out their social media, we need to screen their video, audio, their website, EPK, whatnot. Did all those things, go through their experience like a resume, and then come up with a score. That's what we did. So, and that's what the next 3 months was. Then there
got
is
it.
another 3 months. I'll tell you about it. Ask
Got
me.
it. So okay, so you obviously, and that's kind of an interesting kind of process that you went through. You kind of had some assumptions which is what a lot of people do, right? You think you've got a great idea, and then you go tell somebody in that area of work or whatever, hey, here's my idea, and they're like, well, that's cool, but that's not my main problem, right? So you thought you'd solve the tipping thing or where to find them, and they're like, nah, I don't need to find a street corner. I can go to the end of my block and play. I need to get something where it's more lucrative inside or whatever, where they can actually go play and be seen. And then obviously the venues want something different, and so because you've got almost like a dual sided or a two sided platform, because you need performers on one side, you need venues on the other, and you are the matchmaker. And effectively, venues, it's kind of like a recruiting firm, right? Like you've got candidates and
Yep.
you've got clients. The clients want to find the best possible candidate. In this sense, it's the best possible performer, but they don't want to do the work to vet 100 performers, because that takes a ton of time to see their samples or whatever they send, right? So your application is essentially trying to minimize the need for venues to do a lot of research by applying some type of a score based on the performer, their social, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And so is that where the app is right now? So maybe share where you are right this second on kind of that journey. And have you gotten any kind of like beta customers or things where you've actually, been able to score performers and gigs? I'm just kind of curious kind of where you are now.
So we built that out. Then we went back to venues. We're like, all right, we're ready. And we talked to quite a few of them, and we got some beta customers also. So they were excited about hitting this app. Yeah. But they were not all of them were excited. They were like, all right, I have a process going on. Why should I really try out this app? What we realized was that what happens for a startup in a startup's journey their product adoption, it goes through phases. Even iPhone went through this. This phase goes like this of product adoption. The first group that comes in are innovators. Next group that comes in are early adopters.
Mm-hmm.
Next group that comes in is early majority, then late majority, then laggards. Even iPhone's adoption curve was like
Yep.
this. Venues, the owners over there, they're all 50 plus, 45 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus. They, I realized, were in no shape or form falling under the category of innovators. Like some of them were interested, but they were very hard to budge. Now, if I give it enough time, then I would be able to get a threshold number to be a substantial, like a running business. But I don't have that time. I'm a startup, right? That means my ICP is wrong. I had joined a pre-accelerator, and they taught me a lot, but they did not teach me really that how do you vet out ICP. Like
Okay.
they're saying that, yeah, go talk to your customers. I did talk to my customers. At the time, it all looked hunky-dory. But when I talk about scaling and bigger numbers, it's not there. So I was like, all right, my ICP is wrong. And these guys are, whenever I start my pitch with like AI gig app with live entertainment, at the word AI, they're like, ooh, are you going to take us over? I'm like,
Right,
sure.
right.
So I had to change my ICP to event promoters. Event promoters, managers, coordinators, they're a younger group, 25 to 35. They are on LinkedIn, and they are not afraid of the word AI.
Yep.
They readily adopt a new platform if it's good. So now with this new ICP, flow is fine. With this new ICP in mind, I'm like, all right, I need to redesign to make it look attractive. It looks okay, but it's kind of drab from their perspective. And I talk to them. They're like, yeah, you need to make it shiny a little bit. And I need to have a few more the workflows have to go a certain way for them to use it.
Yeah.
Type form where you answer one question, the next one shows up. It's easy. You don't have to think. You don't have to look around on the page. Answer one thing, next will show up. Keep answering, and your form's done. A flow like that is what resonates with them.
Got it.
So like, all right. So that's where we are right now. We are redesigning. We have onboarded some UI designer, a couple of UI designers, one on the product side, one on the marketing side. And redesigning the site, making it look good. And one investor, as a matter of fact, talked to us and asked us about how are you going to make your product sticky. So we have an idea. We're implementing that also. And yeah, that's where we are. So
Got
we
it.
have gone past the MVP stage and we are reaching the MVP2 or kind of product market fit stage. And we have been running our LinkedIn and making connections with a ton of event promoters.
Got it.
That
So
is resonating.
you're kind of now two-sided is you need the performers and then you need the event promoters to kind of come in, create profiles, create gigs, and then let your algorithm do or your AI do the work, essentially to match and rank who is the best fit
Yeah,
for a set gig. And then
it generates two scores actually.
and then I guess are you kind of compensated, or how do you generate revenue? Are you generating revenue from transactions where if a performer gets $300, you get some type of spiff off of that as a processing fee? Is there a
Yeah,
sign up charge? Like how does it work?
bingo, you nailed it.
Okay.
So suppose the event promoter has a gig, it's a $300 gig. So we are going to be starting off with for the first 2-3 months, we are going to keep it zero even.
Mm,
But we will be taking like 5%, nothing more, 5% from the performer side. When it has gained some traction and we have the numbers, at the time we will add a processing fee on the customer side also, like 5% again, nothing more than 10% is needed. Yeah, that's what we're going to collect.
got it. And where are you based right now? I think you're in California, if memory serves.
Pasadena, near
Okay.
LA.
And so I would imagine there's that's probably a good location to start with, a lot of venues, a lot of performers, people want to be in California and all of that. I guess, is that kind of where you're trying to launch your, true kind of MVP and kind of really go to market and then scale outside of that region beyond that?
Yes, exactly. So our vision is to go global, obviously, like musicians worldwide are suffering and we can help them. But before we can help them, we have to help ourselves and at least make it work in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there are a ton of venues around here, ton of performers, ton of event promoters, managers, and this is where we're gonna start. We are gonna talk to them in person, take their feedback in person, and then refine the product as needed, and then take it to rest of the California, then Nevada, etc.
Got it. And you mentioned an investor. Have you been kind of self-funding this to kind of get this thing off the ground, or did you immediately go out and raise some money and utilize that capital to do some of the pivots that you've had to do?
Yeah, we have not wasted any investors' money right now. We It is self-funded, me and my partner. So
Okay.
I'm full-time on this. I'm in my own vision, obviously, and my partner, incidentally, he had a stagnant IT service company. So we have been mooching off resources from there who have time, what that have time available to build out this venture.
Got it.
And that's the right way also. Like I read in one of the LinkedIn posts and they're like, I met really smart people yesterday. They are using their IT service company to build out their startup. I was like, yay, thank you. It was not us you talked to, but yay. Yeah, good
Yeah, I mean,
validation.
leverage resources where you can when you're trying to be a self-funded bootstrap startup. You don't have
Yep.
the luxury of dropping a bunch of money on resources, whether it's people or other tech and things like that.
And
I'm curious a little bit
yeah,
about
and
kind of your kind of career path to being a startup founder. Is this your first startup? Like how, and because obviously we heard how the idea got planted, but that's a lofty goal to just say, hey, I saw these street performers and now I'm going to build this app. Are you a performer? Like, how did you kind of figure this out?
oh, um, the story over there goes way deep and way like a personal. But you know, if you ask me, I tell you. All right. So my dad was in army. All right. I'm
Okay.
from India. I was born and brought up over there. And of course, my dad would be on field postings and everything. And whenever we would be separated because he's somewhere, like wherever we were staying in an army colony, I would see funerals, quite a few.
Mm,
And even though I was a kid, I would be like, oh God, the next one could be ours, And in 1971, there was a war, uh, and U.S. was on the other side. was helping
Okay.
Pakistan. And once that got done, the relations were strained, and India was really towards with Russia. So the economy was kind of going that direction. Also, the markets, but a strange, and there was no relation between US and India. But a
Okay.
strange thing happened. Piracy happened. And
Mm.
how, of course, it's a bad thing, but how it helped was music and movies were coming in. So India and US were supposed to be enemies because of that bad thing which happened at that time.
Yeah.
Because US was ready to send nukes to nuke India to help
Jesus.
Pakistan out.
Okay.
But that didn't happen. But this infusion of music and movies which came in, it transformed the younger generation. It did not let the younger generation become enemy,
Mm.
because now we are raising, we are growing older, we're growing up with American music and movies. So what our parents felt, we don't feel the same.
Got it.
And because of this affinity, the next things which happened was, like, when we grew up, people were like, I want to go to US. I like their
Mhm.
music. I love the movies. I love the culture. So there was like people coming over here. And that led to tech coming into India. And that really lifted India out of poverty from an underprivileged, underdeveloped country to developing and now becoming a superpower.
Yeah.
The root, all these amazing things are happening right now. It's music. And I
Hmm.
was observing, I was drawing the insights, how music has really transformed the economy, the people. And so I pay homage to this amazing entity which is out there, this
Yeah.
vibration which is out there. I'm like, I want to serve this for that reason.
Got it. Well,
And
that I appreciate the very personal and actually informational story because I had no idea that all of that happened. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean I listen to music pretty much all day every day, depending on what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean music is definitely a big influence in my life
it
just
has
from a
transformed
productivity
countries.
standpoint. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so is this your first startup though? I'm kind of curious, like, because a lot of people, they were working a W-2 job, they had this passion project, and then, it just kind of sits on the sidelines. But is this the first one you've done, or have you done other startups?
I was part of another startup, Smart Geotech. That's a running company right now. And but I was on H1B myself at
Mm,
that time. It was 2012, so I was
yeah,
helping on the side. So I took some shares and I exited. Um, and
nice.
from way before, also I wanted to do something. And even after that, after this 2019 visit, in 2019 itself, we tried to create a startup, but it was going slow. And then the COVID hit, so we put a pause on it. And then in 2020, yeah, last year we picked up the balls again, the reins
Got
again.
it.
Sorry. Yeah.
Got it.
So yeah.
I guess what's your view on kind of the startup world? Because we're recording this in early September 2025, right?
Yeah.
2021, coming out of COVID, everybody was starting a startup, everybody was getting funding regardless of what, you were doing. And now you can't really get funding realistically or theoretically if you don't have AI in your product or in your name or something. And obviously, you've got an AI integration with this from a scoring perspective. But I guess what's your take on kind of the startup ecosystem right now? Because it sounds like you went through like an accelerator. So is there still a kind of draw to being a startup founder? Like I'm just kind of curious what you're seeing in other startup circles that you're in, in California.
Uh, you know, first of all, how is the startup world? If you do a comparison, then it's bad. But if you are doing a theoretical check, a value check, it's great.
Mm,
The startups that come out of California and Austin, New York, all these things, they are transforming the world. Like whenever I visit back to India also, and the type of apps and everybody is using things they are doing, I'm like, I know the source of it. Like, even if there was an Indian app now, this was not supposed to be an Indian app. This was something else that came out of California. It's changing the world. Should it stop? Should it slow down? No. Of course, people have to take a risk. with their lives, livelihood, the jobs, everything. And not everybody is going to be successful, obviously, but everybody is going to, whoever gets into the startup world is going to learn, come out a better professional, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either your startup takes off, or if you have to come down, you come out of startup as a failure, you will be seen as a different professional. You are a business professional who needs a small foundation to grow. That's the type of guy you are now after a startup experience. So the type of job ideally you should be getting would be a little bit better than what you would have been getting pre-startup experience.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I've worked in big companies, I've worked in startups, and a lot of my clients right now are startups, and the type of person that a big company is looking for sometimes is very different than what a startup is looking for, because startups really just want people that are willing to roll their sleeves up, do jobs that aren't on your job description, and be willing to take risks, because that's what a startup is, right?
Yeah,
And my wife's a pure example. She's been working at the same startup for 3 years now. She started as HR, and now she's the chief customer officer for the company. So, she had
that's the
no
way to
experience
go.
doing
Yeah.
that, but she's just like, I'll figure it out. I'll do it. So you get a lot of opportunities to, I hate to use the term think outside the box, or do things outside of your comfort zone in a startup, where you may or may not, but most likely not get as many opportunities when you're in big companies. So yeah, I have a lot of people ask me, like, should I go to a startup? Should I go to a big company? They're both risky.
Yeah,
No company
big company
is
is a
secure.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no
Um,
learning. Yeah.
as you think about kind of your next kind of evolution, I'm curious about the AI stuff, because obviously everybody is talking about AI, and I guess, how are you using it in the app? Maybe talk a little bit more about that, and then, are you using it in your company to help make you more efficient, or to brainstorm, or just any kind of use cases that you maybe would want to share for other startup founders that are listening to this, being like, how are you utilizing it to help you as a founder?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one thing I'll say, before the startup, I was in IBM, New Desk IBM, and before this, I linked consulting companies, couple of them. Um, what's the purpose of AI? One word: automation. Simple. So whatever process was taking one day to happen, with the help of AI, it can be done within an hour or even 5 minutes. That's the purpose of AI: automation.
Yeah.
Make things faster, cheaper. That's all. Now, how do we use it in our app? For the performer score is an agentic AI type of a system, if you will. So the AI is basically drawing all these pieces of information, creating a model for itself, and coming up with a score, a performer score and a fitment score, how well
Got
a
it.
performer aligns with a requirement of a customer. So that's where we primarily use AI within our app. Now, on the contractual side, also, because once the performer has been selected, now gig is going to happen. Now, what if the performer does not show up, or there is a dispute between the customer and performer? So
Mm,
that's where AI also comes in the form of escrow payment AI engine. That's all. That's another piece we are building. These are the two places where AI comes in for us. And building out the company, like the work, um, project management, planning, coding, um, AI based tools is normal now. Like
yeah.
that's why AI companies are being funded, because they're like, all right, what is the current, what investors are looking? How is it happening now? And okay, and the founder says it's happening now this way, and it's long drawn process. It takes 3 days to happen, and it takes two people minimum to implement this. And we have an AI that will basically pull all these sources of information and do yada yada yada. It's done in less than 2 minutes.
Right.
Okay, so the value is in time, and because it's time saved through the human resources, it's money
Yep.
converting to money, better process. Okay, so that's kind of AI is going to get funded, because all this automation was not there earlier in all these processes. That's why AI companies are getting funded. But AI is also coming in places where it's not needed. So those companies will have a harder time. to
Yeah,
get
I
funded.
mean, like
Yeah.
I said, everybody's putting AI into something. I get reached out to pretty much daily from some type of new recruiter technology, AI interviewer, all this stuff. And I think there's some recruitment applications that make my job better, faster, easier. I think to your point, some companies are throwing AI into things that really isn't AI. It's just literally just automation. It's literally just if this, then do this. Or it is, yeah, just not needed. It's like just a chatbot, right? It's just a
Yeah,
plug in.
just
It's
a
a wrapper.
chatbot.
It's a
Yeah.
wrapper around ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever the case is. Which
Yeah.
fair enough, um, but yeah, it's a fascinating kind of time that we're in from an AI perspective.
Yeah.
So what are some of the milestones? I guess if we as we kind of round out the episode here, I guess if we jump on a podcast 12 months from now, like what's maybe one or two milestones that you'd really like to have hit, to talk about on that episode?
100,000 GMV, gross merchandise value, if you will.
Okay.
That's the milestone. At least we want to hit by year 1 point.
Okay.
Because if we are hitting that milestone, I think that product would be validated, and we would be ready, definitely ready for the next round of funding or next round of growth, if you will. Yeah, at least
Got
100,000.
it. Awesome. And how many people are in the company now? You said there's like you and
Oh,
your partner. Are there any other, and then some freelance resources that you utilize from his tech company?
yeah. So what I realized was, if I cannot convince people and like regular professionals to join my company and help this company out on equity basis, there's no way in hell I will be able to impress investors, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's bring in technical co-founders. Like this, not technical. Like let's bring in co-founders. Like give them equity basis based employees. So we have now 4 in marketing. That's
Okay.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
And uh, we are now looking towards building up team on technical side also, and we are in talks with one. So we have about 10 people in total now.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it. No, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that find passion projects and they're willing to take risks just like they're not getting paid a salary. Some people obviously couldn't do that. Some people are very willing to be like, hey, I'm willing to take a bet on you and bet on the company,
yeah,
and then a bet on themselves, because if they come in, especially as early as you are, one amazing employee could have a hockey stick impact in a positive way, on the business, especially somebody in marketing or in tech that could take your tech from where it is now to something that is even better, farther along than what it could be. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of people, and there's also ecosystems out there that exist of like people that just want to be part of a startup, right? Because sometimes it's not full-time hours, sometimes it is, sometimes it's just able to advise or provide open doors, et cetera, et cetera. So no, I think it's a really smart way to continue to bootstrap and still get a lot of value out of really good people. So that's pretty awesome.
absolutely, yeah. And because
Awesome.
these people are coming in, they're like, yeah, we are fine with this term, with these terms. They are going to be passionate.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're not just coming in for the money. They're like, no, I love the idea. I know it will become big. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of people out there. You just have to go find them.
Exactly.
And that's sometimes easier said than done. But but I commend you for finding them. So, man, it's been really cool to learn about your startup, learn about your journey. I'd like to end the episode like I do with every other episode, with a 3-pack of questions. So, first question here is, what's an influential book or podcast that you would recommend to the listeners?
Oh, Atomic Habits. Oh,
Okay.
it's very good. Atomic Habits. It will change your life. It can change your life. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have it on my bookshelf over there. I read it. It's one of the things where it's a short, easy read, right? And
Yeah.
so I tend to read. I tend to listen to it. Frankly, I'm more of an audible book person, so I tend to listen to it like once a year, once every other year, because you can get in bad habits, and then you're like, oh crap, I got to like get back and think about how to habit stack and do all these other things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even a summary of that book. Forget about reading the book. No need. Just go to ChatGPT, ask for a 5-minute summary of the book.
yeah,
That's enough to transform your day. Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, I love it.
Atomic
I
Habits.
love it.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you like to do outside of the office?
But I love to read, and I love
Okay.
taking walks and music. Reading, walking, yeah, music. These
Yeah,
are
you can
three things.
definitely do a lot of those things at the same time, right? You can listen to music while reading a book, while taking a walk. If you can
Yeah, you put it
multitask
like
and all that.
you can hit that right that way. But yeah.
Awesome. Now, final question here, G. I guess what's your favorite vacation spot?
Oh, vacation spot. I'm a road trip kind of guy. And
Okay.
I'm not a foreign country road trip kind of guy. I'm a within US road trip kind of guy. I pick out a state and I go visit the state for like 7 days and
Okay.
think of a loop, and I do that. Favorite vacation spot I would say is uh yeah, make a circle of figure out a loop in any of the states and do it. I've traveled Colorado this way, Idaho, of course, Nevada, Arizona. Mind blown, mind blown.
Interesting.
Like peoples are different, like things are different, food's different. Yeah, it's yeah,
Yeah. A
road
favorite
trip.
state that you've circled or been to?
Um, it's difficult. Like I'm thinking Colorado, Idaho, Washington, all three are great, and the Big Island in Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
It's difficult to pin my favorite. The Key West, I did Miami to Key West over
Oh, cool.
4 or 5 days. That was beyond awesome. Savannah, Georgia, Charleston. Yeah, I am not gonna pick out my favorite.
All right,
It's
fair
too, that
enough.
one is
Fair enough.
too difficult.
I don't want to hold your feet to the fire. So fair enough. But man, G, it's been awesome to learn about your story and your company. If people want to learn more about you, if they're interested in hearing more about your application, maybe they're a performer, maybe they're an event manager. What's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
Just go to squanto.app, and if you want a demo of the product, there's a contact us form. Just throw whatever message you have for us, and if you want us to reach out to you, throw the message and contact us. We will, and yeah, that's the best way to reach out to us. Yeah,
Awesome.
or email me. You know what? Email me, Gaurav@squanto.app. Simple.
Awesome. We'll have all that stuff in the show notes so people can easily get in touch with you. G man, it's been really cool. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Justin. This was amazing.
I hope you found at least one actionable insight from this episode of the Growth Capital Podcast, your one-stop shop for insights from private equity leaders, CEOs, and startup entrepreneurs on starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, as well as the role having the right talent plays in growing a successful business. It would be greatly appreciated if you would rate and review this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and drop us a comment so we can expand the audience of this podcast. Thank you for all your support, and don't forget about upcoming episodes dropping every Tuesday.